Hulk was always supposed to be among the most powerful characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but recent details concerning Bruce's Marvel path have me convinced that the MCU's Hulk would not be able to win these fights that his comic counterpart was able to handle. Hulk's turn as Smart Hulk in the MCU has significantly transformed the character, proving divisive among audiences. While the MCU's current Hulk has his humanity and his brains, there is much of Savage Hulk's fury that is dearly missed in the franchise. Brute physical strength is not everything. The strongest and weakest Avengers alike have played important roles in the franchise. Sometimes strength is what is required, and other times it is more complicated than that. Still, incredible levels of power and strength have generally been important parts of the Hulk and his Marvel Comics stories. Looking back at these conflicts helps to show how important these parts of Hulk's identity really are for the character's stories. 10. Hulk vs. Scar. Scar comes to Earth to kill his father. Scar is Hulk's son, and the two have faced off in the comics. Unsurprisingly, the Hulk has often appeared to be the more powerful of the duo in the comics in a conventional one-on-one fight, seemingly batting Scar away with little trouble in the likes of Scar, son of Hulk number 12. That said, the comics also suggest Scar can oppose his father in a way different from pure strength, thanks to his connection to the old power, an ability considered similar to Silver Surfer's power cosmic, which is able to give Scar abilities like control over earth and lava. Taking all this into account, it seems Scar would be a considerable threat for the MCU Hulk if the pair were to face off for whatever reason. Most crucially because it seems very much unlikely that the more caring and violence-adverse Smart Hulk would want to do any kind of harm to his son, whereas the comic Hulk generally has far fewer issues with beating up his own child. Taking all this into account, Scar might have an advantage over his father in a fight given the current circumstances. 9. Hulk vs. Sentry. Hulk was able to defeat Sentry in World War Hulk number 5. The MCU's Sentry is already shown to be one of the most powerful characters in the franchise. In Thunderbolts*, Valentina pitched him as being more powerful than even the Avengers, and the comics attest to this idea. However, during World War Hulk, Sentry and Hulk fought, and the Hulk came out victorious. Using Sentry's fear against himself, Hulk was able to overcome him in the comics with his incredible anger. In the films, the MCU's Hulk does not currently use his anger in the same way, suggesting he wouldn't be able to tap into the upper echelons of his strength at this point. Smart Hulk does not embrace that fury, and instead searches for peace and serenity inside of himself, eschewing the strength of his anger. While the full extent of Sentry's powers in the MCU has not yet been fully revealed, if he is anywhere near his comic counterpart, which Thunderbolts* suggest is the case, it doesn't seem the MCU's Hulk could defeat him at this point in time. 8. Hulk vs. Onslaught. Hulk's rage was so strong that his punch blew up the universe. In the comics, Hulk's mind suppressed Banner's presence during a fight with the incredible psionic X-Men villain Onslaught, who is made from the joint subconsciousness of Professor X and Magneto. Having successfully suppressed Banner's presence from his mind, Hulk was able to fully embrace his rage. Using this, he punched Onslaught with so much power that it destroyed Onslaught's armor and reduced him instead to a being of pure psionic energy. In Hulk, Grand Design, Madness number 1, this is explained as Hulk hit Onslaught. Hulk's abilities, and especially his rage, are not nearly this powerful in the MCU. While Hulk is incredibly strong, it currently seems impossible for him to suppress Banner and fully unleash his rage, or for anyone else to do that for him. Seeing Hulk take on a villain like Onslaught in the films, especially after the new X-Men MCU reboot takes place, would likely have to be presented in a very different way. 7. Hulk vs. Hercules. Hercules is more resilient to power in many Marvel stories is scaled to what is needed from the character. It seems clear that Hulk's strength in the MCU has been toned down compared to many of the comics. His weakness would appear to make a conflict between him and Hercules turn out poorly for him. After Hercules appeared in Thor, Love and Thunder, this iteration of the character would likely be able to beat the Hulk, or at least tie with him. Marvel's comic Hercules has squared up against the Hulk several times, and their bouts tend to fall either with no clear winner or with the implication that Hulk won the fight. However, the examples that fall in this latter category tend to happen when the Hulk is at his most ruthless and powerful, as is the case in World War Hulk, where the Hulk is able to beat Hercules down because he doesn't fight back. Given the MCU Hulk is depicted as far more compassionate currently, it doesn't seem he would be able to replicate these angles, thus making a draw at best seem the result for the hero right now in such a fight. 6. Hulk vs. Absorbing Man. Hulk's comic book powers are far greater than in the films. While Hulk was able to defeat Absorbing Man in the comics, I'm not certain the MCU iteration of the hero would be capable of doing the same. Absorbing Man is a terrifying foe that is able to replicate the properties of things he comes into contact with. Using this ability, he would be able to absorb Hulk's abilities, including his strength, and use them against him. In the comics, Hulk was able to win this conflict because his powers would only grow stronger from his rage. Absorbing Man attempted to match the unlimited range of Hulk's abilities, but this ultimately allowed Hulk to defeat him. Hulk's MCU abilities do not seem to grow so exponentially in response to others, as demonstrated when he shut down in Avengers. Infinity War after realizing he could not beat Thanos. This limitation would leave him likely unable to defeat Absorbing Man in the MCU. 5. Hulk vs. Doctor Strange. Magic is far too strong in the MCU. Hulk and Doctor Strange have fought in the comics on a handful of occasions. In World War Hulk, Strange believed that he could defeat him with ease. However, Hulk was able to break Strange's hands, cutting off his ability to wield magic. With his magic gone, Hulk was able to win against Strange. I do not see circumstances like this playing out in the MCU. In the films, Hulk is not so violent and destructive, and is unlikely to take as vicious an approach, even in his more berserk mode. But in the MCU, what's more important is that Strange's powers and magic seem more powerful now. In Spider-Man: No Way Home, Strange was able to contain some of the greatest Marvel villains in magical cages with no issues whatsoever. I can't imagine this Strange struggling to overcome, or at least subdue, the MCU's Hulk. 4. Hulk vs. Juggernaut. Juggernaut's abilities are similar to Hulk's. Juggernaut is one of the most incredible X-Men villains, and his powers are an excellent counterpoint to Hulk's. Juggernaut's momentum is practically unstoppable, and seeing him clash against the Hulk, whose strength grows to match his rage, seems like a recipe for an endless struggle. Fortunately, these clashes have found endings in the comics, with both Hulk and Juggernaut winning depending on the circumstances. It would be dependent on what iteration of Juggernaut was used in the MCU, but it's hard to imagine Mark Ruffalo's Hulk being able to stand against a fully powered Juggernaut. The villain's force, powers, and momentum would continue to scale in his effort against Hulk. Meanwhile, Hulk's powers have been shown to not be able to grow in perpetuity in the MCU, making a Juggernaut win more likely here. 3. Hulk vs. Wolverine. Sometimes the bigger hero has to win. While Hulk dwarfs Wolverine in size, Wolverine has actually gone on to become a much bigger hero for Marvel in the movie world. Initially brought in as a character for Hulk to fight against, Wolverine and Hulk's power sets are strangely well matched. Hulk grows stronger the angrier he gets, while Wolverine continues to get up, no matter how terrible of a beating he takes. This strategy has led to different results in the comics, with Hulk occasionally defeating Wolverine. However, in the films, Wolverine is a much more esteemed hero, and the extent of how much his powers can allow him to do the impossible is repeatedly underlined throughout all the Fox X-Men movies and in Deadpool and Wolverine. As such, it seems like both of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine iterations are angrier, more ferocious, and more dedicated to their violent cause. Hulk simply has little to offer in a match against Wolverine other than strength, and Wolverine's ability to never truly lose that fight would seem to eventually lead to his victory, one way or another. 2. Hulk vs. Maestro Hulk. Maestro represents the most terrifying path for the Hulk. Maestro first entered the Marvel Universe in the 1990s as a version of the Hulk from the future whose world went through an incredible nuclear war. Steeped in violence and destruction, Maestro sees Bruce Banner's intelligence merged with the fierce violence of the Savage Hulk. This combination is terrifying and caused a great deal of trouble for Hulk in the comics, even if he was eventually able to defeat Maestro. While Smart Hulk seems very capable of tricking Maestro the way Professor Hulk does in their first proper comic brawl, this isn't enough to actively fully defeat the character, since even blasting him with the nuclear radiation that makes Banner into the Hulk only deals with him for a little while. When the Hulk successfully defeats Maestro, it's not because he recognizes him, but rather because of the Savage Hulk's unwavering determination. However, given that Smart Hulk appears to have deeply ingrained the Savage Hulk persona, this kind of victory may not be as achievable at this time. 1. Hulk vs. the Avengers. Hulk could not defeat his entire team in the MCU. One of the earlier conflicts that arises between Hulk and the Avengers takes place in Avengers number 3, which leads to a clash between these parties. Hulk aligns with Namor to take on Iron Man, Thor, Giant Man, and others. This fight becomes heated, but Hulk is able to cause significant damage. As one of the strongest Avengers, he is able to hold on to the fight and to find great advantage so long as he is in his Hulk form. While the Hulk is suggested and shown to be one of the stronger members of the Avengers over the years, the movies also address the idea that they can handle his outbursts, with Thor dealing with Hulk and Thor Ragnarok through creative means, and the Hulkbuster giving Hulk a run for his money, suggesting the entire team could have dealt with him if necessary. While the newer team's roster isn't yet clear, it seems likely they could do the same, given that Sam Wilson's Captain America now has experience pacifying raging Hulks, as shown in his conflict with Red Hulk in Captain America: Brave New World.